expect Jack Sullivan to see a little bit more action this week with DeMarcus being out and what things? I mean, yeah, I saw him limp off the field at Iowa, but then he was in there at the end. So, I mean, just what have you seen from him these last couple games?
No, Jack certainly showed a lot of toughness. You know, I think he's very versatile for us. He can play both spots to the field and into the boundary. I think our first crew will be ready to roll. So it's just, you know, that's where you're at, right? You get into game 8, and you know, you've got to have, you know, guys that you know, your depth guys emerge. And you know, we came out of spring knowing that Jack was probably going to play a lot of football for us, and you know, when he's been out there, those 20, 25 snaps a game, whatever it is, he's done a good job for us. So you know, our group's hungry after last week. We certainly didn't get it done, and it starts with us up front. And we know we're going over and playing a very good Nebraska team, better than the record shows. They've had a lot of close games. Good football team, well coached, so it should be fun.
What do you think of Big George's scoop and score?
Well, those are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for D linemen, right? And he executed it right. I mean, we had a nice sack, you know, from the corner blitz, and that thing's laying on the ground. And you know, I've watched it obviously a number of times, but he obviously eyeballed it. It was there for a lot of people to maybe go get, and he did it just like we coach, right? I mean, as he approached the ball, he got to the side so you don't kick it, right? Scooped it up and tucked it away, and then after that, you know, huge play, obviously gave us a lead. Really proud of the other 10 guys that were out there. Had a nice convoy to the end zone. Nobody did anything stupid. You know, oftentimes you maybe get a block in the back or something, and but our guys did a great job. Always fun to score on defense, and I know that's something George will never forget.
Jenkins seems to be making a few more plays in the backfield. What about his play the last couple games has really allowed him to do that?
You know, KJ, I think, is just getting comfortable, right? I mean, he's you know, just learning the position, and it started back in the spring with a new defensive system. But I just think as we've gone along, I just think he's gotten more comfortable as his technique continues to come along and get better. And it's interesting, the sack that he had, you know, we're trying to run that tight end screen again. And part of his ability to get back there was our second level cover guys did a good job of locating the tight end, so that quarterback had to hold it. But certainly you got to keep coming with the pressure, and I thought he did a good job of getting on the edge and creating a big play for us.
Are any of the younger defensive linemen sort of making a move or catching your eye? We know about Dean and Johnson, the first teamers. Guys like Austin and
I think, you know, when you think of the backups, I think DeMarze gives us the ability to play both spots inside, 3 technique or nose. Bryce Austin's obviously coming on, and both those guys played, I don't know, somewhere between 15, 20 snaps last week. I think you're going to see, you know, Prince continue to come on. We've got different packages where we can utilize him, and then Corday Sidnor's a young guy on the edge. He's probably the longest guy that we have, and with us just being banged up and you know, at that point in the season, he could be a guy. He gave us 4 snaps at the end of Iowa, and but he's another guy that we're really high on. We think he's got a bright future. So you know, you want to ride those first teamers as long as you can, but you know, we still have 5 more games, you know, hopefully 6, and we got to continue to bring that depth along.
With the challenges, I mean, throughout this season, you faced a lot of traditional formations, but you get the spread team on Saturday with a running quarterback that generates a lot of their offense. Just the challenges for that defensive line to read their keys and, you know, be able to make plays.
Well, you know, they operate like a triple option team just because, you know, it's not always just one play, right? It might start with an inside zone or a zone read type concept, but then there's a secondary play off of it, maybe an option or whatnot. So everybody's got to be dialed in with their eyes. It's assignment football, and that's kind of how we've treated the week. We've got to be disciplined. You know, the more the offense does, typically the less you do on defense, and that's kind of our approach. They do, you know, they've got some base plays that they run, but a lot of different ways, a lot of different intricacies in there of how they block things and whatnot. So we're going to come in with enough ammunition, you know, to get the job done, but they're very, very well coached. Obviously, Martinez has been around the block. He gives you that added dimension of being able to tuck it and run it when the play breaks down. That concerns you both in the run game and on third down, right? So we've got to have him accounted for. We've got to do a good job when we rush him of being balanced in our rush. And there's times that we maybe have a second level guy on him as well. So we're going to go, like I say, with enough ammunition, but be a lot of challenges Saturday too.
When you looked at the film against Wisconsin, just what was it that they did well to kind of exploit the defensive front, and then what are some of the key points of emphasis to be able to move forward and kind of get those things cleaned up?
Well, I think for the most part, I thought we settled in the second quarter. Early in the game, wasn't pleased. They're big old line, big backs, run downhill. But I thought once we got into a rhythm, into a routine, we did some good things. Had a nice goal line stand on the 1 yard line, got some great penetration. So at halftime, we made our adjustments, felt pretty good. I think the play that really turned the tide, the momentum was a 70-yarder, right? We had enough guys to defend it. We weren't in the proper gaps. So the run fit with the front seven wasn't what it needed to be. And that thing spit out for 70. And from that point on, I just never thought we got our confidence back. Guys continue to play hard. But against a big physical front like that, you can say what you want, but Wisconsin's done it for a number of years. They build it up front with a big old line, and you've got to attack your technique. You got to be gap sound with the front seven. And then however you're fitting your secondary, those guys got to be the insurance policy. So at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough. It wasn't for a lack of effort. We got to coach better. At the end of the day, we got to play better. They both go hand in hand, and we just didn't get it done.
You mentioned that rhythm just on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you guys go into the locker room at halftime to kind of make adjustments. But what are the challenges of just kind of making those adjustments on the fly when the rhythm isn't exactly going your way?
Well, again, that's one of the challenges of coaching, right? Like when you don't have a 15 or 20 minute, I don't know how long half times are anymore, to be honest with you. When you got to do it from series to series, the things that you're seeing, you got to be in sync. And that's where the communication from what those guys in the box are seeing, they've got to get it to us, and then we've got to draw it up for our guys and make changes on the fly. I've got some veterans up front, George Karlaftis, Branson, LJ, and usually those guys that have played a lot of football, they can communicate exactly what has happened up front. Sometimes with younger guys, it's a little blurrier, and so you're relying on what the guys in the box tell you, and again, that's just the chess match that you go through, on a Saturday. So I thought for the most part, like I said, I thought we settled in, got our momentum back, got our mojo back a little bit in the second quarter. Had it, in the third, but that big run, you just kind of saw it slip away after that. So we can't let a big play like that affect us. I mean, sometimes easier said than done. Again, I thought our guys continued to go out and play hard, but that one punched us in the face, and we didn't respond well enough.
When you heard about the 9 overtime game between Illinois and Penn State, kind of what went through your mind, and then if you watched any of the highlights, it's like, is this how we decide football games now?
Well, I know, what is it, after the first 2 overtimes, they just go to the 2-point or so.
Right.
I guess back in the day it would have been a heck of a lot more plays, right? But no, I mean, obviously a great football game, and hats off to Illinois, to go on the road and get a win like that. We went through a similar thing the week before when we went to Iowa. You go beat a ranked team like that on the road, so I'm sure that's a big momentum boost for Coach Bielema and his football team. And if you're Penn State, I mean, you hate to go through those things, right? But again, that's why football's such a great game, right? It's just like life, man. It punches you in the face. It can be great to you on one day, and the next day it can punch you in the face, and you got to be ready to, rally, regroup, and press on.
Do you have to prepare for multiple 2-point plays
you
during
do.
the week to in case you get to that situation that you have a good understanding of what may be coming?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that just changes the whole mindset. Back in the day where they put the ball in the 25, I mean, you're basically running your red zone offense, right? And if you're lucky enough to get down there or fortunate enough to get down and score, then you just keep playing the game, right? But once after 2 overtimes, it's all 2-point. Yeah, you better have a Rolodex of plays if you're an offense, and you better have some things maybe in your back pocket as a defense that, if they keep scoring, better have something to go to that maybe's got a little bit more punch to it. So again, it's a chess match at the end of the day. But I'll probably watch it at some point to see. I did see the highlights, and obviously, Illinois made one more play than the Nittany Lions did. So that's the greatness of college football.